Today I'll be reviewing Boruto Chapter 51, Sacrifice. This is probably the one chapter everyone didn't want to see, but we all knew it was coming since at least episode 1. Naruto's sacrifice for Boruto, Kaguya, and the future of Shinobi. This chapter actually had a lot going on aside from the Naruto bits at the end, but in this chapter, Naruto decides to access some forbidden power from Kurama so that he can take on Isshiki. But to do it, he has to give up on life because Kurama says he'll die if he uses it. And Naruto says he's been prepared to do this ever since the day he decided that he'd become Hokage. Not when he became Hokage, but since before that. And as much as I don't want this for Naruto, it's 100% in character for him to do it. Because like he says, he's been prepared for this since before he became Hokage. And we've seen Naruto put his life on the line plenty of times before in the name of his friends, Sasuke, and his dream of becoming Hokage. And now that he's Hokage, there's no way he isn't going to do the same. And just like the other 4 Hokages, it seems, or the first 4 Hokages, it seems that Naruto may end up dying in battle for the future. We also got some history and lore in this chapter regarding the Otsutsuki clan and the Divine Tree, and Kaguya's rank. But let's talk about what led to this. So, Boruto, in the beginning of the chapter, who's pretty smart, decides to use himself as leverage against Isshiki because he knows Isshiki can't kill him. And then it's explained in this chapter to us by Amado, who gives us a breakdown on how the Divine Tree works. And so he says that once the Ten-Tailed seed is planted, you need to feed it a living Otsutsuki, and that's why they invade the planet in pairs so that one of the pairs gets eaten and forms a divine tree, and the other basically cultivates and watches over the divine tree until the chakra fruit forms. And the one that was supposed to get eaten between Kaguya and Isshiki was Kaguya because she was lower in rank. They've actually hinted at Kaguya being lower in rank since chapter 35, where Sasuke entered that Otsutsuki dimension where he saw the Ten-Tails. And in that dimension there were stone carvings of Kaguya and Isshiki's symbol was above Kaguya's, similar to how Momoshiki's symbol was above Kinshiki's. But as we know, this method where Kaguya would place a karma on someone to be revived later, while Isshiki guarded over the divine tree, didn't work because Kaguya ended up betraying Isshiki, leaving him in a near-death state. And I'm guessing Kaguya didn't place karma on anyone because there was no one to watch over the divine tree while she would be dead, which is probably why she was training her sons, Hagoromo and Hamura. And this is until, of course, they would eventually betray her, and Hagoromo would become the Sage of Six Paths, and Hamura would form another branch of the Otsutsuki clan on the moon. So while Amado is explaining all of this, Sumire figures out that Isshiki's plan is actually to use Boruto to feed to the Ten-Tails, that way he can just revive inside Kawaki in peace. So after that, we switch back over to Boruto and Sasuke, and they say they already know about his plan, and Isshiki says that they don't have the power to stop him. And that's when Boruto threatens to take his own life, and Ishiki's just like, excuse me, is that supposed to be a threat? And then shrinks Boruto's kunai, and Sasuke tells him that threats don't work on him and that he can't risk getting caught. He also says that their only hope is to wait until his life runs out, even though they don't know how long that'll take. And that's when Isshiki comes in and kicks Sasuke right in the throat and through the mountains and crushes him with cubes. And then Boruto tries to hit him with a Rasengan, and Isshiki stops him with one hand and says that he has no qualms about hurting him, even though he can't kill him. And he seemingly breaks his arm, and if he did that, damn, that probably hurts. And after that, Amado says that there are different variations of the chakra fruit depending on the Otsutsuki that gets eaten. And that because Boruto is on track to become a powerful Otsutsuki, he'll become a great chakra fruit. And this kind of makes me wonder what Momoshiki's rank is to Jigen, because I don't think Isshiki knows that Momoshiki is hearing this, since he didn't even know that it was Borushiki who defeated Boro. And if Momoshiki isn't lower in rank than Isshiki, I don't think he'll allow himself to be eaten for the sake of this mission. So maybe we won't see Momoshiki come back out in his Borushiki form until Naruto and Sasuke are both defeated, or at least one of them. So after hearing what Amado has to say, Shikamaru kind of says that doesn't really give us a way to defeat him, and Amado has this lackluster reaction and says that it'll go the way it goes. And we see Sumire have this reaction where she's worried about Boruto, and Kawaki gets up and asks Amado just how much of this is going as you've plotted. And so Amado has this reaction where he says, what? And Sumire just is just like Kawaki with a question mark. And he says that if Naruto and the others die, you're toast too. How are you able to stay so calm? And this is really feeding into my theory that I think Amado will end up betraying us, because the number one rule about betrayal is if someone's betrayed someone before, chances are they'll betray you too. And Amado's basic responses to this, and he says, I quote, I simply make what appears to be the best choice available to me at the time, just like everyone else. What's critical is that you are always prepared to accept whatever result that choice yields to, no matter what it is. So essentially, he's just completely thinking for himself and doing what's best for him at any given moment in time and not thinking long term. So if Isshiki wants to forgive him or whatever and let him join again, he'll do it in a heartbeat, since that'll be most beneficial to him. And I noticed Shikamaru telling Kawaki to calm down and whatnot, but we all know Shikamaru's thinking the same thing in the back of his head. Just look at how Shikamaru reacted to when he put the collar on Chikadai. He also asks Kawaki if he's mad about being powerless or losing the karma. And both of those actually go hand in hand, because he was given power because of the karma, and the karma is his source of power. But I think the only reason he'd be upset about losing karma, despite it being a curse to him, is because it gave him power and connected him to Boruto, who has it too, and Naruto, who became his father. And they both essentially became family members to him through karma. I think what's crazy about this is the only benefit to ever having karma that he's ever had is now gone, which is Naruto and Boruto, and their life is being put in danger because of a karma that he doesn't even have anymore. And the ironic tragedy in it all is that he'll end up with karma again, with the price of him losing Naruto. And speaking of Naruto, it's time to talk about the end of the chapter. And I opened this review with this, and I'm going to end with it too. Naruto's sacrifice, or I guess brand new transformation, in order to defeat Isshiki. So Naruto is trying to find Boruto and Sasuke since he can't sense them because of the chakra cubes interfering, according to Kurama. And Kurama asks Naruto what the plan is against Isshiki's otherworldly powers, and Naruto says he's out of ideas, but he's the Hokage and protecting the village means everything to him and is more important than his own life. So even if he gets slaughtered and he ends up a corpse, he'll cling to Isshiki and never let him go. And I think the symbolic message in Naruto's words is that even if he dies, he'll still play a role in defeating Isshiki, or at least stopping him until the very end. And that's when the Nine-Tails asks if he's really prepared to die, and Naruto says he doesn't see any other choice this time. And so Kurama says there might be a way, and that it's a do-or-die, last stand, ace up your sleeve kind of thing, and it's only worth trying if you think you'll be killed anyway. And Naruto, like lots of the fan base, is like, hey, where's this form been since forever? And there's actually a pretty simple explanation for this. One, Naruto didn't have both halves of the chakra until after the Fourth Great Ninja War and at the Valley of the End. And two, why hasn't he used it? Because he never needed it when he was battling Tonari, or when he was battling Momoshiki, because he had Sasuke with him while he was battling Momoshiki. And it was strongly implied that if Naruto was at 100%, he could have easily beaten Momoshiki alone. Especially considering Sasuke, who was drained at the time when they were fighting Momoshiki because he had to teleport all those people, and Naruto, who was already being drained for like a day or two, were still able to fight Momoshiki fairly evenly. But back to the chapter. So Isshiki tells Boruto he'll be devoured by the 10 tails and die in order to cultivate the divine tree, but he also says that Boruto was going to die regardless. It was only a matter of when. And that's when Naruto comes in with the flying kick and kicks Isshiki back. And then he asks Boruto if he's okay, and Boruto warns him that he'll be killed, but Naruto says, I'm the Hokage, don't worry about me. And that's when Naruto tells Kurama that he's ready and that he's been ready ever since the day he decided that he wanted to be Hokage. And that's when we see Kurama, or Naruto and Kurama, undergo their transformation, and even Sasuke's surprised to see that's him. And even Ishiki's surprised to see this chakra that Naruto is producing. So then we see Naruto undergo a new transformation which no one saw coming, and the chapter ends. So man, this chapter was absolutely insane. I definitely didn't see Naruto getting a new transformation coming at all. But like I said earlier, this transformation in itself was never necessary before up until now. I thought maybe Borushiki would reappear in this chapter because Momoshiki doesn't want to get devoured. But I don't think Momoshiki's gonna reappear until his life is in danger. So, and that wouldn't be up until like maybe Boruto's in front of the Ten Tails, and then Momoshiki comes out to kill Jigen slash Isshiki. But the real question I have is, with this transformation, I wonder how much power Naruto has, and the possible effects of this transformation that lead to him dying. So I'm thinking maybe the Kyuubi's chakra reaches absolute zero, because we know if your chakra reaches zero, you end up dead. So I'm thinking maybe the Ninetales chakra reaches zero and the Ninetales ends up dying. And since Naruto won't be a Jinchuriki since the Ninetales will be gone, that will lead to Naruto dying? But this is where I feel like all the other nine-tailed beasts or the eight-tailed beasts should come in handy, because they all made a contract with Naruto to leave a piece of them inside of him. So shouldn't he have access to their power too? But that aside, usually if the Ninetales dies, it's naturally reincarnated into the world. So maybe this time the Ninetales is risking everything and he won't be reincarnated even if he dies this time. That's why Naruto is going to have enough power to defeat Isshiki. Even if that is the case, even if Naruto does die after defeating Isshiki, Sasuke could use Rinne Rebirth to bring him back. But it would actually hurt to see both Naruto and Sasuke die in the same battle, even if one of them ends up living. But that could be what changes Boruto into who he is later. Either way, I don't think both Naruto and Sasuke are going to live this battle, but I also don't think both of them are going to die. One of them will definitely end up living, and it's seemingly going to be Sasuke unless he plans something last minute as to where he could take Naruto's place. But even if he did, Naruto already activated this chakra mode that's seemingly going to cause his death. But if Naruto is truly going to die here, he needs to defeat Isshiki, because this is the second time they fought him and the second time they've been demolished completely in battle. If Naruto is going to die, and unfortunately it seems like he is, he needs to defeat Isshiki. Not seal, absolutely defeat Isshiki. In what could be one of the greatest battles of the series. This has to be one of Naruto's top 3, or probably his greatest fight as Hokage. If this is how he's going to end the series, if this is how he's going out in the series, this needs to be his greatest moment. But this still does leave us with two major questions. How does Kawaki re-end up with Karma if Naruto is going to defeat him? And how does this play a role in Kawaki's line in episode 1 where he says, "I'll send you where I sent the 7th"? How is that going to make sense if Naruto does win? Because as of right now, that line literally only makes sense if Kawaki betrays us, which seems extremely unlikely at this point in time, or if Isshiki ends up taking over Kawaki's body. And the second major question I have is, will Momoshiki appear as Borushiki in the next chapter to protect his body, or at least the vessel for his future body, Boruto, so that Isshiki doesn't feed him to the Ten Tails? I also think it would be pretty cool to see two Otsutsuki fight. And them talking leaves a lot of room for lore to be dumped on us in the next chapter. I honestly really wish they brought Rock Lee along, because with Rock Lee, he could have at least stalled Isshiki since Isshiki can't absorb his attacks, and with the 7th case, I'm sure he could have pulled off something. Sakura also would have been nice to heal Sasuke since Sasuke isn't doing too good right now. And Kakashi to watch from afar and help them come up with strategies with his veteran leadership would have been nice too. And this would have been the perfect opportunity for Team 7's final mission. But all that aside, let me know what you thought of this chapter in the comment section below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching, and bye.